Welcome to Beyond the Surface, the podcast. From the ancient practice to its modern day symbolism, we dive beyond tattooing and its connection to our inner selves. I'm your host, Caroline. Welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Surface, the podcast. I am so excited to have you here. If you don't know me, my name is Caroline, and I am a holistic orientated tattoo artist based in Copenhagen, Denmark. And my mission is to get back to the roots of tattooing and not forgetting where it came from, and just connecting really with the art of it and appreciating everything it represents, everything it stands for, and how much it can help transform the tattoo experience. So welcome, and thank you so much for listening. This podcast is sponsored by Workin University, which is your provider of holistic health and yoga and trauma healing and so much more. And it's a really amazing place where you get to know yourself holistically, and I just think that it's amazing. So go check it out. It's workin.university. So Workin University, thank you so much for sponsoring this podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about the importance of choosing the right artist for your next tattoo, and I think it's so important, and it has a very special place in my heart because I try so much myself to be an artist that people actively choose, and not just someone that they just find online and just choose to get tattooed by just because. So whether you're out walking, if you're at home, you're at work, getting ready for going out, anything, I would recommend you to relax, get some hot cocoa, coffee, tea, water, whatever resonates with you in this moment, and let's go beyond the surface together. There are so many reasons why I think that it's important to choose the right artist, and the number one thing is connecting in terms of energy, and then the second thing is connecting through style. So if you have listened to the other episodes where we really connect with the spirituality behind tattooing and how it can affect the whole experience and the outcome of the tattoo and how you feel about it, it's really important to choose an artist where you feel like you can express how you feel, not only with the design they've made, but also in terms of how the session is going to be. Let's say you want a blanket, you're freezing a little bit, you want to feel safe telling your artist that you need a blanket. And pretty much straight away, I think it's like, meeting any other person, you can tell if there's a chemistry or not. And if there's not, you can always back out. It's okay to say, I don't feel like getting this done. They might charge you the deposit, or they might charge you for the full session. I don't know what their policy is, but regardless of the amount of money you will be needing to put into it, I would say be sure that the artist that you choose is contains the energy that you want. If you're not spiritual at all, you might not want to choose an artist that is very spiritual, or if you don't believe in the holistic way of doing things, you might not choose one that's holistic. And vice versa, if you're very spiritual, you might not want to do a walk-in session with a random artist that you've just found that is not spiritual at all. So choosing an artist that contains the energy that you resonate with, and that an artist that can provide some spiritual insights, or if you let them know that you want to have a silent session while you're getting it tattooed because you want to meditate or go inwards, you need to be able to have an artist that can contain this energy and will be able to hold the space for you. Just like if you are getting some scars covered up. Some feelings might arise. You might need to cry, or you might need to talk or laugh or get some, breaks once in a while that you will need an artist that can hold the space for you and be able to comfort you during whatever sorrow you might be going through. So that's the first thing of choosing an artist that is, energetically aligned with you and that you can feel safe telling anything to. And the second thing I think is probably the biggest one, and that is choosing an artist that has the style that you want. And I think we can all agree, maybe the ones who've gotten their first tattoos, that we might have just chosen one off the street, done a walk-in session, or we might have just found someone online who we thought were good. Now, the thing is, you can be really good at a specific style and not at another. For me, example, I specialize in fine line tattooing, which means I use very tiny, thin needles. And I mostly focus on creating straight lines and thin lines. But if you were to ask me to do a realistic portrait of your dog or your horse or, something else, I would probably suck at it. And vice versa with someone who mainly does realism, they might not be able to create straight lines. So the things to focus on in terms of style is, number one, what kind of style do they mainly do? I would always choose an artist that is specialized in one thing. I would not choose one that posts photos of several different things because, I don't know, personally, it just seems to me like they haven't specialized in any one thing and they don't know how to perfect any one thing. And that's just a personal opinion. But if you see someone who mainly does color tattoos, they would be perfect to choose if you're getting something, color tattoo wise. If you are getting realism, choose an artist that only posts realism stuff. And if you're getting, traditional old school tattooing, choose one who only does that. Because not only are you going to choose an artist that is amazing at the style that you want to get done, but you will also have a more fun session because the tattoo artist will most likely love what you're getting done and they will put more effort into it and they will perfect it a little bit more. For me, let's say I have someone who visits me and they ask me about an old school tattoo that they want and they have a photo. I might be able to, or I will be able to recreate the photo to perfection, create the lines, create the same amount of shadows. But because it's not the style that I usually work in, I will most likely not be able to be innovative. So let's say you come in with a design of a horse and you say, hey, I would love to get a cowboy next to it. Because it's not the style that I usually work in, I would most likely have to copy off of something that somebody else did, or I would have to draw a lot of inspiration. Whereas if you ask me to do fine line ornaments, I could create it straight from my mind. And because with the old school tattooing, for example, or it could be realism, because it's not the style that I would usually work in, I'm not able to provide you with tips and tricks of, let's say, if you make it a little bit bigger, then it would look amazing like this. Or if we add a flower here, it would just make it pop. Or, if you place it on your inner arm instead of your thigh, it would just look so much more amazing. Do you kind of get where I'm going with this? So because it's not the style I usually work with, I'm still going to be able to create it based on the reference photo that you made, but I'm not going to be able to provide you tips and tricks on how to make it pop and make it such a cool design. And choosing an artist that is specialized in exactly what you want is going to be so much more fun for the artist, because they will be creating something that they love and they have just specialized in this specific style, and therefore they will be able to just create an amazing piece of art for you. And for you as the client, it will be so much more fun for you because you will feel so much more safe and you will not be disappointed. Sometimes I have clients messaging me and they say, oh, you create really beautiful lines. Can you create this realistic portrait of my dog? And although I always appreciate people, complimenting my work, I also find it a little bit funny because you cannot tell that I'm good at realism based off of my photos of my lines. Yeah. So I will always turn these people away, and I would recommend other artists that work specifically with the style that they want. And another thing to really be aware of is, let's say you were to, for an example, you were to message me, right? I create lines, I create ornaments, I don't create anything realism. Okay, there's not a single photo on my Instagram in my portfolio where I have put up a photo of realism. I do it sometimes to get better and just because I find it fun sometimes, but it's not the style that I primarily like to work within. But let's say you message me and you have a portrait of your dog that you want to make, you want to get done in realism, and I say yes to it. That's a really dodgy sign for you as a client, that I say yes to something that I basically have no proof of that I can give you the results that I want. And it's also going to be very nerve-wracking for me to have said yes to it because I do not know if I can provide the results that you want. Sometimes it's a little bit easier if it's like an easy portrait. That is something that we as artists can decide if we're able to give you the results that you want based off of reference photos. And let me tell you, this is why reference photos are so crucial. We don't ask for them because we want to copy, whatever reference photo you've sent. We just want to see, what style do you want it to be? Like, what do you want and expect the results to be once you get something done? So you can tell me that you want a dog, you want a portrait of your dog, and this could, from my experience at least, this could both mean an outline, it could mean realism, it could be an old school, it could be color portrait. So sending heaps of reference photos to your artist is so crucial because they will then know whether they need to decline your inquiry or if they feel like they can do it and they accept it. Now, let's say again with the dog, you send me a photo, you send me some reference photos, and it's a realistic portrait of your dog. And there's no photo of a realistic dog, any realism at all on my page. And but you think that I create beautiful work, so you ask me if I can do it, and I say yes to it. I would say that that is a red flag because you don't know if I can provide it within this one, because I wouldn't straight say that it's a red flag. It depends on the style. Okay, so it might be that because I can do, every artist can do lines and shading, and I say, oh, this is a really easy one. It might not be my favorite, but I can do it. Then of course I would say yes, but mostly I only say yes to the things that I like doing. And I only say yes to the things that I know I can give a really good result with. So this is why it's so important to choose an artist that you trust, and that you know that if they don't feel like doing whatever, thing that you want to get done, that you can feel safe knowing that they will say no. I feel like there are so many artists that say yes to things because we all gotta pay bills. I know that, but I feel like there are so many artists saying yes to things that they don't really know how to do. I have so many clients who want super fine line work that almost, when it's healed, you can barely see it. That's a style that a lot of people like, and it's become very popular. And they go into an old school shop, and they just get a walk-in session, and this artist chooses like a way too big needle because they either just want some quick money, and they say, oh, this style is not good because they're not used to the style. I think it's so important to listen to the client, look at the reference photos of what people want, and make sure that you can provide that. So choose an artist that when you go on to their Facebook page, Instagram, whatever it might be, that you feel so safe knowing that whatever they say goes. And if they have recommendations, then you can trust that they know what's best. But in order for them to have that authorized, voice, you will also need to have chosen an artist that works within the style that you've chosen. Because regardless, let's say you come in for a session with me and you want a text. It is almost inevitable that I will choose a very thin needle, but I will just choose it unconsciously because I'm so used to choosing a thinner needle. I will always ask people and say, hey, based on the reference photos that you sent me, it's really thick. Do you want me to make it thinner, or do you want the same type of lines as in the photo? And I just make sure to communicate with the client that they get it how they want. But it's regardless, I am never going to use the same needle as an old school artist will, because they're just used to choosing other needles. And again, if you come in with a very fine line tattoo and you show it to them, they're going to say, oh, what the heck is that? And they're going to choose a bigger needle by default. It's just so ingrained in our body as an artist that we just choose what we're comfortable with. So with people that come in from other countries and they get something done by me, I always send them the message of the needles that I've used and the cups of ink that I've used. So I will write down, you probably won't know what it means, but I will write down, for example, a 08-3 liner. And I will have used half a cup of black ink for the shadowing. And this is just so that if it needs a touch up, I know that they will be able to go to an artist and say, hey, I need a touch up of this. And the artist that made it used a 08-3 round liner. Can you do this too? Whereas if they just went into any old shop, they might not have it, but because they just want some extra money, then they will just say yes and end up ruining it. And it goes the same the other way, if somebody comes into me and they say, hey, can you fix this realism portrait, something, I might say no, because it's like, I don't know what's done to it. I don't want to ruin it by trying to fix it. So always choose an artist that resonates with you energetically, spiritually. Make sure that if you need an artist that is more spiritual or more holistic, or less spiritual, less holistic, anything, make sure that you figure that out before you book in a session. You can pretty much see it, we as artists are very good at showing our personality on social media, and I think the ones who show it the most are the best because it provides really good insight for the client and enables them to choose, is this for me or is it not for me? And then the second thing is choosing an artist within the style that you want. And I sometimes have clients who come to me and they say, oh, you know what, I feel like I cheated on you. I went to another artist to get something done. And I look at what they got done and it's a completely different style than what I usually do. And you guys, that is okay, if not preferable. I would much rather have you have 5 different artists that each do a different style so that you can get exactly what you want. Because as I said before, if you come to me and you want a realistic tiger on your back, I'm not going to be able to provide that for you. So I'd much rather have you have an artist that's amazing at creating realistic tigers, and then you come to me when you want to get small, fine line stuff done. And this is so cool, you guys. You don't have to feel like you're cheating on your artist. We don't really care, to be honest. We don't really mind. Do whatever feels right for you. If it feels right for you to have one single artist that you feel safe with, do that. If you feel like you need 5 different artists that all do 5 different styles, do that. Don't feel like you are obligated to stay with one single artist. And then I also want to touch on something else, and this is about researching and finding the right artist, because I hope what I'm saying makes sense. But how do you actually find an artist in your area or in another area that you're visiting that you feel comfortable with and who has the style that you want? So what I would do is search on Instagram. This is the one that I use the most. And there's also Pinterest. I think I would choose one of those two. So what you do on Instagram, and you would do it on Pinterest too, but mostly Instagram is a perfect tool because so many of us artists, we tag everything and, provide location. So what you do is you go onto Instagram and let's say you want a quote. You write quote, tattoo, and then your location. So let's say you're in, I don't know, Denver. You say quote, tattoo, Denver. And then you go on to either tags, location, or places, or you go on persons. So then it's just about finding what resonates. So let's say a photo pops up of a quote that you like and you like the style of it. You click on it, click on the artist, and then you can see everything that they've done. Then most likely they will follow a lot of other artists in their area, and you can find, ones that you either resonate more with or you resonate more with their style. And that way find an artist in your area that you like. You can also have, let's say you found a photo of some stars that you like. Send them to an artist and then ask them, hey, I just want to know, would you say this is fine line? Now, this is a really tricky one because what I define as fine line is not what a old school tattoo artist would define as fine line. But so what I would suggest is stay on track with searching. You can also search on Google. Search, for example, fine line artist near me. You can search on Instagram saying fine line artist Copenhagen, fine line artist Japan, whatever it might be. I would suggest choosing the city that you're in or the city that you're visiting, just so that you don't, let's say you're going to, I don't know, France, and you search up fine line artist and somebody in the US comes up. So search for the city that you want to go into, search, and then fine line, or search Copenhagen tattooist near me, Copenhagen tattooist, realism, Copenhagen tattooist, old school. It's a little bit difficult if you don't know what style the tattoo that you want is. In that case, I would suggest using Pinterest, where you, for example, you type in Black Panther tattoo. Then you will get so many different ones popping up, and most likely in the keywords of the name of the photo, it will say the style. If you found a specific photo where you like it, and you found an artist that you like, and it kind of looks the same style, just ask them and say, hey, I found this photo of something that I'd really like to get done. Would you be able to recreate the same line work and the same shadow work? Then you're off to a pretty good start, I would say. Let me know how you found it, and always feel free, to message an artist and say, hey, are you able to recreate this, or is this the style that you work within, or would you be up for doing this? And hopefully they will be honest, because you've done your research and you found an artist that you resonate with and that you feel so safe with. So this was everything for today, you guys. I hope I helped you in finding an artist that you resonate with and choosing the right one for your next tattoo. Thank you so much for listening. If you feel like connecting on Instagram or any other platform, you can find me as Miss Kali Tattoos, and I look so much forward to hearing from you. If you want to give this episode a review, it would be so appreciated. It really helps everyone to find the podcast and just get the words out there that tattooing is so much more than just ink on our skin, and it is so important for us to choose an artist that we resonate with and that we feel safe in getting a tattoo. And thank you so much to Work in University for sponsoring this episode and the podcast in general. I am so honored to have so many people supporting my dreams, and I'm so happy that I can provide value to everyone, and I have so many exciting things coming up, and I'm so excited to share them with you, and wish you an amazing week ahead, and cannot wait to connect with you all and listen to your stories. As always, feel free to share your stories in our group. It's called Beyond the Surface, the community, where it's a safe space for everyone who loves tattooing and love it to the extent of it being a spiritual experience. So thank you so much, everyone, and have an amazing week ahead. Bye.